Hello and welcome to my channel. In this series, we dive deep into the void to find the lost stories of the deceased and to explore their case files, so we can shed new light on these unsolved cases and to bring new hope to help spread awareness of what happened to them. Join me as we explore the Lost Voice Files. For the rising millennials in the early 2000s were a time of entertainment, financial fears, and a great technological innovation period, springing forth the new era known as the noughties. In this era, war was an all-time possibility, and the entertainment industry in America took the world by storm with the increased accessibility of the internet and rising popularity of punk rock and hip-hop. The stage was ready to be defined by this decade. But for one family, this will be remembered as a time of confusion and grief. On a cold December 14th, 2002, a fire ravaged an apartment unit at the Sunset Terrace Apartments in Seguin, Texas. Around 8 a.m. that morning, firefighters arrived and extinguished the fire. Once the fire was calm, firefighters found a charred body in the main bedroom. Several hours later, authorities discovered that the apartment and the body belonged to Mikiko Kasahara. She was a foreign exchange student from Japan. At the time, she was attending the Lutheran University in Seguin, Texas. In the beginning of the investigation, Mikiko's friends were questioned to see if they knew anything about the fire. Several hours before the fire started, Mikiko's friends stated that she was hosting an end-of-term party at her apartment. A key factor in this case is that the party did not stop until 5 a.m. in the morning. But during the autopsy, examiners realized that this wasn't just a simple accident. According to the report released by Travis County Deputy Medical Examiner Elizabeth Peacock, the condition of Mikiko's body made it impossible for Elizabeth to determine her cause of death. The report did state Mikiko didn't have any alcohol or drugs in her system. This rules out any possible accident caused by alcohol or drug use. But after further investigation of the body, Elizabeth found that there were neck fractures and extensive damage in the pelvic region, causing massive hemorrhaging that could possibly lead into severe blood loss. Elizabeth wrote in the following in her report: "The victim died as a result of homicidal violence, including but not limited to strangulation. There was profound injury within her pelvic region, causing hemorrhaging, but for the precise nature of how she died, has been obscured by the post-mortem thermal burns she developed in the fire." So what we can gather from this information, around the hours of 5 and 8 a.m., Mikiko was attacked and murdered in her home. Police believe that the murderer likely started the fire to destroy evidence and to obscure the homicide, but fortunately, not all clues were perished in the fire that morning. So for entertainment and educational purposes only, we'll be going over how the events happened during the murder, leading to where Mikiko was left in the fire. This is my personal theory. I'm not saying this is 100% factual of what happened to her, but hear me out. In the early morning, when the party was starting to settle down, I believe that one of the students invited somebody that was outside of Mikiko's friend circle, who possibly had an unhealthy obsession for Mikiko. Authorities still couldn't find a motive for the crime, but due to the religious nature of the university they all attended, nobody could have predicted there was a wolf in sheep's clothing that night. So as the party began to settle down and people started leaving, one person stayed behind. In the official report, there is no account on how many people were there that night, and most importantly, who. But we can confirm, based on the attempt to burn evidence, the crime was either planned or in the heat of the moment. Once this unknown person cornered Mikiko in her bedroom, either a confused, heated situation occurred, or possibly an obsessed freakout, causing the killer to snap and attack Mikiko. And in order to keep the volume low, he or she strangled her. But due to the severe fractures on Mikiko's neck, the killer was most likely male. And while the killer was strangling Mikiko, he snapped her hyoid bone, which led her suffocating and losing consciousness during the attack. But even though her body was going limp and not reacting to the assailant, they proceeded to stomp and attack her pelvic region, causing massive fractures, leading to massive hemorrhages, which led to severe bleeding, causing Mikiko to die in excruciating pain. But the extremely odd thing is, officers did find an incinerated laptop within the bedroom, which contained recent search history for Asian female corn. The search history dated exactly the same time of the murder. Either this was on purpose, or some sick pleasure response for the murderer. And once the killer accomplished what he wanted to do, they set the room on fire to remove any form of evidence that they were even there. And since this was the early 2000s, video cameras were not as abundant on these premises, leaving a perfect kind of condition to get away scot-free with nobody noticing you were even there. To this day, there are no possible leads for any potential suspects after all these years. Again, this is just my theory, based on the information that I found on the autopsy and police reports given to the press during those years. If you have your own theories, put them down in the comments. I want to know what you guys think about what actually happened to Mikiko. After 10 years since the murder, on December 14th, 2012, a brick with Mikiko Kasahara's name was laid on Texas Lutheran University's Memorial Walk. And as for the 10-year arson investigation that took Mikiko's apartment, Assistant State Fire Marshal Kelly Christner said, "We have been able to use information from the testing conducted by the ATF to establish a more solid timeline of the fire, but only in terms of the growth and spread, but not as to when it was ignited." During 2012, newly appointed investigator to the Mikiko case, Watson, also said that Mikiko's killer was someone who knew the college students, and felt very confident that it wasn't somebody from Japan, but it was somebody who knew her or had some connection to her. In the end, nothing has been found in the last 23 years. Mikiko was a beloved student who had large ambitions for her life. Mikiko's name was to be on the provost list for academic excellence. Her instructors called her a lovely person and a gentle soul. One of her teachers shared one of her last writing assignments that she wrote about returning home from San Antonio with her friends. Her assignment said the following: "They stopped the car on an empty side road somewhere in the night and lay on the rooftop to look up at the stars, filled with wonder and happiness that beheld the majesty of the starry night." In the earlier years of the investigation, Investigator Watson, who retired from the Seguin Police Department in 2014, said, "I met with her mother. I broke down at one point, and she was holding my hand. We were going through a translator, and we were both in tears. She looked at me and said, 'I know you've done your best. You have to let it go.' She was giving me what I wanted to give to her. The Kasahara family have forgiven whoever have done this. The only thing they ask for is a sincere apology and, if possible, an explanation. The family are incredible people. They don't harbor animosity." This was the last statement Captain Marine Watson stated about the case. 2 decades have passed since the murder of Mikiko Kasahara. Even though the case has gone cold and the family has moved on, Mikiko deserves justice. If you know anything or have any leads that could help this decades-old case, I implore you, please call the Texas Crime Stoppers at 1-800-252-TIPS or 8477. You can also submit anonymously online. If you wish to look further in this case, look down in the bio below. There you'll find links to the documents that I found and used for this video, including links to the Texasrangers website. Hey everyone, thank you so much for sticking around to the very end. I just wanted to let you know that I greatly appreciate you guys supporting me on my last video. It was a better success than I thought it would be, and I greatly appreciate you guys giving it a thumbs up and leaving comments on the bottom, letting me know how you felt about it, and just all around support. I'm hoping to have the next video out next week, and it's probably not going to be Texas this time around. We're going to shift over to North Carolina. There's a case in Raleigh that I find very interesting, and it's kind of similar to the Mikiko case, but it's a different setting, different type of person, different background. But I hope to see you there. I hope you like everything so far, and just let me know again in the comments what you guys think. I would like to push for more better editing and hopefully get this to where the visuals are a little bit more appealing than just standard stock video. But again, that's a vision for the future. Right now, it's going well, and I pray you guys stick around for the next one. Detective Raincoat out.